That movement, which was largely motivated by anger at what they saw as an overreaching federal government under the control of a single party. That might sound familiar. A new op-ed from pollster and friend of the show, Kristen Soltis Anderson, has this warning for her party: Republicans better watch out. And she cites her latest poll, which found the emotion Democrats are most feeling right now is fury.
We are not interested in hearing that you are in the minority. We know that. We want you to show some of the backbone and strategic brilliance that Mitch McConnell would have in the minority.
Group chat is back. Jackie, we've talked a lot about this analogy, Tea Party to now. Obviously, yes. Democrats have talked about how much they believe is at stake, especially with the actions that the administration is taking around immigration. What are you going to be listening for in A, these protests, B, how Democrats respond to them?
You know, I'm not listening to Democrats as much as I'm watching the voters that voted for Trump because of the economy. We talk to them all the time during the last election, those who were saying, hey, it's not my favorite, but I'm voting for him because of inflation and because my grocery bill is too high. Yes, Democratic enthusiasm obviously is a huge deal. We saw that in Wisconsin, but I think those voters who are on the margins are going to be the ones that really tip the scales as we go forward. I mean, it's a long time before.
Yeah, but I guess the question is, can the scales be tipped if you're looking on the news that there's protests, if you're hearing your neighbor complain about it, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I remember that moment, and I know Jim does as well, in 2009 and 2010, when there was a lot of enthusiasm and anger on the right, particularly with the Tea Party protests. And so I think that it would be wise for Republicans to look at the election results, not only in Wisconsin, but those two races in Florida that you talked about earlier, Audie, because the margins were much smaller. I mean, 14 points is still a big margin. At the same time, I think it's important to look at those lessons. You have the Virginia gubernatorial election this year, which will be another bellwether, and then you have some other special elections in the House that are going to come up as well.
Yeah, but people hit the streets when they don't feel heard in elections, right? I want to play some sound from you in context of this conversation around the Democratic Party kind of searching for a leader.
Fear has a way of being contagious. Okay. When one person has fear, it has a way of spreading to those around them and spreading. And we are witnessing that, no doubt. But I say this also, my dear friends, courage is also contagious.
Okay, Kamala Harris, we finally see her, and she is referring to something that is real, as I've reported on college campuses, for example, that people are afraid of sticking their neck out, going public because of the potential backlash to that activity. Jim, can you talk about this message in the context of, people speaking out?
Well, it goes back to what you were just saying. I think you're exactly right about these swing voters. And swing voters don't want to hear Democrats talk about anger and fear and all these things. They want us to have an economic message that makes their lives better. And Democrats have still yet to settle behind that. Part of it's not having a leader, but part of it's like understanding the moment we're in. It's not just enough to win elections because people start hating Elon Musk and Donald Trump. You actually have to have a different vision. And I think that's the challenge Democrats have right now. And that's the work we have to do. And it's not just enough to talk about fear.
Your old boss went a little further than this. He was speaking at Hamilton College. He had this to say about the moment that Democrats are in. He was saying we're in one of those moments when, it's not enough to say that you're for something. You may actually have to do something and possibly sacrifice a little bit. That's the part people don't remember when they talk about protests or where they refer to the 60s or refer to past time. People did sacrifice.
That's right. People went to jail. People took very difficult things. And I think what he's talking about is these law firms who are just bowing to the president, to Trump, and not fighting back. There's a price to be paid here. And, you had Indivisible on earlier. They're willing to pay that price to say this is the moment to have that fight. I just think it's not just about anger, though. You've got to have a message how you're making these swing voters' lives better. In the Wisconsin election, 9 counties that went for Donald Trump went for the Democrat in that election. Those are swing voters moving. It's not just enthusiasm. Swing voters are beginning to panic about Donald Trump.
Rob, last word to you.
Yeah, I think that it's wise, again, for Republicans to pay close attention to this. Donald Trump did have a message that resonated in the 2024 election. He was able to win over those people who may have voted for Joe Biden in the previous election. And
He
so,
also rode anti-pandemic lockdown protest anger.
Sure he did. Yes, so did Glenn Youngkin in Virginia,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, that's again why I say look at what's going to happen in Virginia as the next bellwether, just like Bob McDonnell's victory in the early days of Barack Obama's presidency.
I want to spend our last moment talking about what we're keeping an eye on. Jackie Kucinich, what are you watching for?
Yeah, we're continuing to keep an eye on federal workers, particularly those in the IRS who are being reinstated as of April 14th. My colleague Julian Peru has a great piece on that on bostonglobe.com this morning.
Heard of
Check
it?
out.
Hometown paper. Thank you so much, Jackie. And Jim?
Enthusiasm numbers. Insiders know that poll numbers aren't what's predictive. What's predictive is who's excited in these elections. And right now, it is Democrats all over the country.
Excited or agitated? I think
Yeah,
either
a
one
little bit
is
of both.
helpful for political
Exactly
consultants.
right.
Rob, for you.
Well, the Bluey kids are excited about a Minecraft movie, which opens today and
we
going
were
to the
joking,
theaters
it's
this
the
weekend.
rare film not in a culture war.
Yes,
So
that's
I'm
right.
excited
So
about
far.
that one. Yeah, give it time. I'm going to be looking for impact of these tariffs. We saw small business owners be the ones to speak out. We've heard from farmers directly. Some of these people are starting to stick their neck out, even if they were Trump supporters, as you mentioned, to say, hi, it's me. I'm the one feeling